The problem is these band-aid approaches to everything instead of getting a citywide policy so that we don't have to keep addressing the same problems over and over and over again. A couple of days ago there was a town hall with one of these town halls that Adams does every week or 2 weeks, right? And one of the complaints was of derelict vehicles that were parked on one of the streets. And Kaz jumped in and he says, "We're gonna take care of it right now." And Kaz put up this video on his Twitter himself. So apparently, after they go to the scene and they get the vehicle towed, and they said they got the guys from services that he might have needed. But I did watch that and I'm like, okay, great, you did a good job there. Now what about tomorrow? And what about the next day after that? You just put a band-aid on it, and eventually that band-aid is going to wear off and fall off, and the problem's going to be there. We need a citywide policy from government. If Kaz does that today, and tomorrow new vehicles are there, then the community looks at that as like, oh, you didn't do anything, So what's the point? But so now let's look at what is touted as a success for the chief who's now in charge of this unit. So the chief, this chief William Glenn, as I mentioned before, was a part of the community link program, which kind of underpins all of this, right? As one of the successes, they tout Roosevelt Avenue, right? So if Roosevelt Avenue is a success, why is the assemblyman yesterday calling for additional help from the feds and from the DEA and
we are asking for the federal government to come in here and shut these criminal operations down?
Units that could handle organized crime, that could target the prostitution and other rings in that area. And now I get that Roosevelt Avenue has always been a problem, but you can't tout that you've successfully solved the problem there if the problem is still existing there. We're just taking a band-aid approach to everything, and that's not solving the actual issues. What brought us out of the crack era and during the crack wars in the 90s was solving the issue so we could move forward. We need to solve the issue so we could get past it, not do these piecemeal approaches to everything.